Hello and welcome to episode 21 of Impacted. I am your host, Bison, and today I am joined by none other than two of my favourite people. They are part of the TNI-UK team, and that is simply Steve and the Joe-ker.
Cleansed by Eric Young. Sweet children of the hive. I am complete. I am pure. Welcome to the empty space.
I love you, Joe. I really do. How are you doing, Steve?
Yeah, we're good this end. Cheers, bud.
Yeah.
Taking over fine.
Well, it's really good to see you because it's now like we were supposed to record this yesterday, which is Wednesday, guys, but it turns out to be Thursday. I got a little bit kind of tied up in my house build and all sorts of stuff that was going on here. And I just was unable to find an hour or so to get this done. So it's great to see you both, and we are ready to talk about some interesting news items that have happened this past sort of week or so. But what I do want to say is please don't forget to give us a thumbs up and share the video so that everybody gets to check out this content that we put out each and every week. Also, don't forget to sub the channel and smash the bell, then you'll never miss a listen. We're also available not only on YouTube, but SoundCloud, Spotify, I've forgotten now, iHeartRadio, iTunes, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, available via the Total Nonstop Impact Network. Each and every single week, putting out unique, different shows. Really, we get the live review show straight after Impact. We get obviously Impacted from the UK. We also get some interviews when I've got the time to get those in on Bison Talks Impact from the UK team. We've also got the TNI Throwback Show, which I think is every Thursday. So loads and loads of things going on the channel. Lots of stuff to check out. Obviously, some stuff from the UK team, some stuff from the US team, and sometimes we even come together and do stuff together, which is really cool. So anyway, without further ado, let's talk about some of the news items that we've got going on at the moment, guys. So first one on my list here is I want to talk about, and I know that there's a lot of mixed feelings with regards to Matt Cardona, in terms of like, you know, is he worth it? You know, is he just a kind of, you know, stopgap type wrestler or whatever, or you know, is he worth the money that they're probably paying him, etc.? Is he staying? Is he going? How long is he going to be? There's so much speculation going on. But one thing we do know is Matt himself has confirmed that he's going to be around for at least the next set of tapings. So, you know, for me, that's great news because I've wanted Matt all along. I just noticed I've still got my hood up, lads. So, yeah, I've wanted Matt on board all along. I think his social media presence alone means it. You know, he should at least get a shot and see how he does. What are your thoughts, Joe?
I'm read the news the February the 12th that he's staying for the foreseeable future. So most likely up until Sacrifice, especially now we got him with this match with Eddie Edwards and Brian Myers next week. I'm glad he's here. He's impressed me so much since he's coming. I've not seen him for ages since he was back as Zack Ryder and the Miz had stolen that Intercontinental title from him after WrestleMania. So to see him back as his original self, really, without the stupid gimmick. No, yeah. He's always ready. He's proving to himself and he's proving to the fans not that he's in wrestling to wrestle. He's not in wrestling to be a joke. And no, I know he's not comfortable with committing to a short-term contract like EC3 was at the moment. It's going place to place to test the water. But down the road, Impact Wrestling is still home for him. And
for EC3?
Yeah, for him and for Matt Cardona. If Matt Cardona disappears for a couple of months, then if he comes back to anywhere, I hope it's Impact Wrestling.
Yeah, no, that's true. I totally agree with that. I think it's a great investment, and even if it's just short term, I think it's great. What about you, Steve?
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the first times I've seen Matt Cardona myself in Impact Wrestling, and he comes across very professional. His promos seem very very forward, and you get a good vibe from him. And in the ring, you don't, he has very good matches with everyone he works with. You talk about how good Eddie Edwards is. Matt Cardona comes across as just a good wrestler, just as good a wrestler. And with his social media, that's, we talked about how good Ethan Page was at his videos, and we never took advantage of him with them videos. Having someone with a social media, that's something to jump on, and he can really help with in that aspect.
Yeah, no, I mean, without any shadow of doubt, Matt Cardona, and again Heath as well. I mean, we'll get onto Heath and Brian Myers. All three of those guys have got really good social media presence, and of course, that means that they've got a big fan base, and we all know that the social media is so important these days.
It is.
With regards to not just wrestling, but all forms of business and entertainment. Social media is how we get that information out there. What I love about in wrestling, the way that they use social media, is it becomes another way to basically forward storylines, etc. Now, you cannot beat that kind of, we call it it's almost like free advertising, isn't it? Because, you don't have to, spend loads and loads of money to advertise your product through social media. I've been doing it for years with my businesses, and it's the way it works. It's free. I get the most out of it in terms of clientele, etc. That's pretty much how it works. So I think that he's worth every penny of whatever they're paying him. That's my thoughts on it, and I'm glad he's staying for a little bit longer.
Yeah, I couldn't add any more. It's great to see him there. It's great to see he's finally got that freedom after he was at the WWE for about 12 years, and he's showing everyone that he's got wrestling ability. He's not just some guy that can do a couple of drop kicks and take a massive beating.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I agree. Now, we mentioned Brian Myers as well. So, I think obviously this is all heading to some kind of Brian Myers versus Matt Cardona match, which is going to be exciting, regardless. And I think it's also where they can sort of let themselves go, because I think that this match has happened once before on WWE programming. And, they probably weren't able to go to the extent that they want to go, and create one hell of a match. So the both of them know each other inside out. So I'm expecting eventually when we get that, it's going to be something special, and it's going to happen on Impact TV, not WWE. And that's the thing. We are creating something, creating a legacy of greatness for all these guys to look back and say that was one hell of a match. That sort of thing. So I think that's good. We then move on a little bit to the Heath, injury issues that we've got going on at the moment. And I know, Joe, you've got a little bit more information on that. What have you got to tell us?
If you go to his Twitter account, you can see a pretty heartfelt message from him explaining everything that's going on. He's expected to, he's found a doctor who can sort out all these problems finally, March the 1st. He's got hernia on both sides of his legs, along his hips and lower part of his legs. So his abductor muscle's been ripped off the bone from his chest, as he's put it, on both sides of his abdomen wall. My biology and layout of the body is pretty messed up, so I'm pretty sure that everyone can correct me if anything's in the wrong place. But he's basically ripped the muscles from both sides of his abdomen wall. It's taken him the 3 months he's been away to find a doctor who can deal with all these issues at once, rather than having one come and do it. He wants to get the recovery done in one big package. This happened after he debuted at Bound for Glory, and he got chucked over the rope. He landed awkwardly, landed on his back. I think it was on his like sitting down on the hard edge of the turnbuckle, and they fell to the floor and tore his muscles basically. At the Quality Shot Battle Royal, but he's going for surgery on March the 1st with to get everything addressed at once, and he's just asking everyone to keep him in your thoughts, keep him in your prayers if you're a spiritual person.
Did he give any indication on recovery time?
He doesn't have a recovery timeline at the moment. He's only literally just managed to get everything in place as it is now. When he was talking, he was really emotional about it, so he's not like taking what's happened lightly. And we also got to see his little baby girl come in, give him a hug.
Oh, that was cute. Well, it's good to know that he's getting on top of it now. He's obviously, our good luck and wishes goes out to Heath for his operations on the 1st of March, which happens to be my dad's birthday. Funny enough, but Heath is going to be under the knife. So all of our well wishes, I think, from the whole of the team here at TNI UK go with you. And let's hope for a speedy recovery, guys. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely. Good luck, Heath. You've got this,
Good luck,
mate. You've
Heath.
got this. Now, one of the other things that's come out in obviously the last sort of week or so is the February 16th Impact Wrestling ratings was pretty good. I mean, they had I think the viewership was something like 197,000, and that is the highest so far since the AEW sort of kind of Kenny Omega episode where it sort of topped 200,000. I think it was 220,000, something like that. So, not bad. We're doing all this on our own now. So 197,000, we're almost there at 200,000. I know that the week before that, it was 170,000. So we're going in the right direction, aren't we? That's for sure. I apologize that the phone's going there. If you can hear that, I'll just let that ring out.
That's okay.
So it's I think everything's going in the right direction. What about, what are your thoughts on this, guys?
There's been dropping ratings over the past couple of weeks. So to have Finn Juice come in really, really shook up the wrestling world. And so fair play to Impact Wrestling and to AEW for getting the invisible door open or the forbidden door, I forget which one it is, and getting these guys in. They're cutting some good work with the Good Brothers, and next week we got a huge match between the Good Brothers and them versus Triple XL and the Reno Scum. So that's going to be a huge draw for next week. So I think I've yet to know the ratings for this week. So it's going in the right direction again. There's always bumps in the road with the ratings, and people are too critical when they drop a bit. But it's just showing that Impact Wrestling's still a strong product, regardless.
What about you, Steve? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. I say it's good that it's going in the right direction. And I mean, I think even when it falls, it doesn't fall by much. So it is reasonably steady. It's not like it's up, down, up, down, up, down. It is it's slightly up and down. So it's always been very steady with Impact. And that's the good thing. And I don't know if the ratings consider people that watch it the following day afterwards, rather than live.
No, I think it's specifically on the night, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
They go with it's specifically on the night.
There's people that watch it the following day or the day after. So there's probably a lot of people that don't tune in live that do watch it. Watch it as well.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm sure that the ratings probably, it's got to get nearer the sort of 250 to 300,000 by the end of the week.
Yeah.
It's just that, night one, kind of, the first episode that gets aired, that they really take into consideration. But you're right. I think it's got to be, there's got to be at least 300,000 people watching through all the different, ways. That's literally just the ratings for Access TV.
Yeah.
What about the people that are watching on Twitch?
Yeah, guys, if you actually
if they put it all together, that would be a big rating score.
Yeah, I'm sure they know the percentages as well. And that's the thing. They know how many people are viewing on all the different platforms, because I know obviously in the States it's available on like Roku and different other sort of kind of streaming type ads. Also, they're all available at the same time. So I'm not really sure in terms of where it's going with that. But at the end of the day, those ratings are important, for the TV. But I think what's more important is the overall picture.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I mean, the main thing we're taking from that, if you ask me, is that things are looking good because they're getting higher. It's improving week on week. I know that sometimes it's also dependent on what else is showing. I mean, if you've got some, American football match going on, NFL match, or something which is really big going on at the same time, then that also makes a difference to the rating. So sometimes even if you do get a poor week, it's not necessarily because the show's bad or that people don't want to watch it. They're probably the people that are watching it later on in the week because they're currently watching the game, you know, or whatever. So, you know, it's people sort of I think sometimes people look a little bit too much into the singular TV channel ratings.
Exactly.
When there's so many other ways to watch the show now, you know, it's not the same. So, you know, good luck with it. But, you know, as long as those keep climbing, I'm sure we'll get to the heights of the 200 plus fairly soon. And I think we can safely say that they're doing all right once they start hitting that point, once you start adding all the other ways of viewing in as well. You know, we've got to be getting on for 500,000 at some point this year, surely, you know, overall.
Yeah.
So yeah, so they're getting there. And then of course you got all the international views as well.
Exactly. You watch along with us on TNI on Twitch. Watch along with us. That adds to the ratings.
Oh, does it really?
Yes, it does.
Well, it will do on Twitch, wouldn't it? Yeah, sure.
So, if you guys can't watch it in the UK because we can't get the Impact stream in the UK on Twitch, come join us on TNI and watch along there.
Yeah, no, exactly. They have the watch along every single week if you want to watch it live as it goes, as it airs in the US. It's there. Don't forget, you don't even need to have, you know, a subscription to Impact Plus. If you download your Impact Plus app, you know, whether it be on your you know, your laptop or your phone or your, you know, iPad, whatever it is that you know that you use, you can generally cast it to the TV, so you get to see it on the TV in HD, and that is available on your Impact Plus app, like literally an hour after it airs in the US. So you know, you're not. It's not far behind, you know. I know that's like 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the morning or something, but bottom line is, it's available for you to watch as soon as you're able. You know, you don't even have to wait till, you know, to watch it on a TV channel. It's there available to watch. And so, and again, like I said, you can even do it through your laptop on the from www.impactwrestling.com. You just have to go on there and it's all on there. So, you know, there is no excuses really to you know, whether you can watch an Impact show. It's there. It's accessible in more ways than one. And that's what it's all about. And I know a lot of people like to watch it, you know, specifically on a cable network. But like I said, I don't honestly see what difference it makes where you watch it, as long as you watch it, right?
Yeah, you eyes on the product, that's all, and you got something to talk about.
Exactly. Now, moving on from that, we also had some news in the last couple of days. I think it came out yesterday that with you know, a couple of people that have appeared on Impact and a couple of big names that have been on Impact are now down at the WWE Performance Center for NXT. And the two biggest names that I think we want to mention is Taya Valkyrie and, of course, the one and only Eli Drake, or should I say Eli Drake.
Dummy. Yeah.
Exactly. Remember that? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
That was brilliant. Dummy. Yeah. Yeah, I loved all that. So yeah, so good luck to those guys. You know, obviously we prefer to they'd stayed with Impact, but you know, at the end of the day, every opportunity is there for the taking, and they've got in there and they've taken it. Even if they don't stay for long, they've always got the WWE on their resume. So I think that's fantastic. All the best, Taya. We love you, and yeah, we hope to see you back on Impact sometime in the future. You will always be welcome. Longest reigning Knockouts champion. Boom. And of course, the legendary man that flaps his gums like no other, the legendary Eli Drake. But I'm not sure what they're calling him, but you know, Sean Ricker, good luck to you, my friend. I was really hoping you would have been coming back to Impact, but there you go. Good luck to you, and we look forward to seeing you down the road.
Yeah.
So, well, I think we can. I think everyone agrees with that.
Definitely.
Yeah.
You know, they're sorely missed enough as it is. So it's just good. It's good to know that they've gone somewhere where they know that they're happy to be. So, you know, regardless of whether they get used or not, where they go, that at the moment they're happy. So, Good luck to them.
Yeah, hope they do well. You know, that's the bottom line. The better they do over there, the more people get to know them, the more follows they get, the more fans they create. So when they come back, they just bring them with them.
Yeah, they've both got all the talent in the world, haven't they?
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. They're fantastic. We also heard Deanna making some waves there and talking about who she would like to see in Impact, who she'd like to face, you know, feud with, and etc. on the Knockouts roster. She's not even saying they're just people she wants to wrestle. She's saying she wants them in the Knockouts division because she thinks that they would be awesome and she'd love to wrestle them. One of them was Hyan. Now I don't know too much about the three that are mentioned, to be honest. I'm hoping that Joe or Steve knows a little bit more on these guys. But the first one that was mentioned was Hyan. Do you know much about her at all, Steve, or is this more Joe?
I'll be honest, no, I'm not familiar with Hyan.
Okay, how about you, Joe? You've got a bit more info.
I saw the notes from the interview that she had. I've got that she's a steady wrestler on Shimmer. She's currently one of the champions on there.
Okay.
She goes by the name the Renaissance Woman. So if anyone knows a bit more about the Renaissance Woman, Hyan, by all means drop it in the comments because a lot of this is a bit patchy for all of us here. I first thought it was Hyan the Huntress she was referring to, but this is someone completely different. So, all the names she's mentioned are very young talent, similar to how old Deonna Purrazzo was when she got into the WWE. So she's looking to bring young talent in and boost them up. And of course, we still got the other two names to come. So I'll let you carry on from there.
Yeah, no, definitely.
So she's saying talent.
Is she a veteran or a young one?
Hyan's a relatively new face. She's been a
just given the way that Deonna was speaking, I got the feeling that all three of these talents were quite new.
Yeah, they probably were. Then we've also got Roxy mentioned. Now, something Roxy. I can't remember what you said on that one, but the only Roxy I know was Roxy with the double XY back in the TNA days.
Back in the TNA days, yeah.
So I'm assuming that's not the same person.
Hardcore.
No, it's she goes by the name The Prodigy. It's ROKC.
Okay.
So again, it's another pretty unknown face to all of us here. If anyone can shed light on any of these women, obviously the best thing to do would be to look online for some of their matches, I suppose. But
yeah, but it would be really good, guys. I mean, if you've got any comments, if you've seen these ladies perform live, leave us your thoughts down below. I was actually a bit disappointed because nobody left us any questions this week for our, our TNI UK thoughts section that we were going to add in, but it doesn't matter. Maybe you can add some in for next week, so we could do that next week. But leave us some comments, guys. You know, what are your thoughts on the women we're mentioning? And of course, the third one was Jodie's threats. Now, I've heard of Jodie, but I don't know too much about her body of work. What about? I mean, what do we know about her, Joe?
I know I've heard the name before a few times, and reactions to her name being dropped on Twitter was quite positive. So she seems to be a pretty popular superstar, and I know she's got a pretty aggressive hardcore background as well. Not so much like deathmatch wrestling, but she's one of these wrestlers who does a lot of intergender wrestling matches. You know, she's
tough.
She's very tough, and she's very talented. She's like Killer Kelly. She's one of these wrestlers.
Sounds extremely versatile as well.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going. Versatility is what all these women like Deonna Purrazzo is calling for it have. And it's it adds to the evolution of the Knockouts division. You know, we've got Kimberly's is a multi-talented wrestler, Sue Young, Rosemary, Jordan Grace. They're all versatile wrestlers, and they're not stick and move with one style. And all these three women mentioned have the same qualities that there, and it's what the Knockouts division needs now. But especially now that Taya Valkyrie sadly gone, you know, it's a good starting platform to again make the Knockouts division the place where you build up the women in wrestling.
Definitely. I mean, I have to say though, you know, I'm still waiting for Killer Kelly. Like they so need to sign Killer Kelly. We just mentioned her in that. You know, for me, she's a must sign. She's amazing. Like, you know, just her whole persona from the minute she comes in the on the entrance ramp to the way she enters the ring to the performances she puts on in the ring. She's just like a female Kurt Angle for me. I know we said this a lot. I'm a big Kurt Angle fan, and I do see kind of traits of, you know, and some of them are quite subtle. So it's things like the way that she enters in the ring, where she does that kind of like sideways shuffle thing across the ring, and then she goes up on the turnbuckle, very reminiscent of a Kurt Angle in the way that she sort of kind of does that. You know, and again, just her whole approach to the wrestling, she really has got that sort of kind of like, you know, aggressive. It's almost like an MMA style, isn't it? It's like a pure wrestling style. So I think she's amazing, and she needs to be signed. She really, really does. Why WWE let her go is beyond me, but there you go.
Well, 4 women we had in that tag team tournament needed to be signed, really, didn't they?
Yeah,
I think so. I think they were all really strong. And I'm still going to say that Renee Michelle needs to be signed too. You know, I interviewed her about a month or so back, and she was lovely. And, you know, like I said, I called her the sensational, you know, the sensational Renee Michelle, because she reminds me, she's almost like a rich man's Scarlett Bordeaux. Like, she's classy. Like, do you know what I mean? She's got this real class look about her. And I think she's amazing. And I'd love to see her join the Impact Knockout roster. So we've got 3 very interesting names there. And I'm going to say, if Deanna's mentioning these names, there's got to be a possibility that we might see them in the future, hasn't there? Otherwise, why would she be talking about it? So, you know, there's got to be something going on there. Still talking about the knockouts a little bit. I just want to mention the tag team of Jordan and Jazz, affectionately known by me as Jordan Jazz Connection. I think that they are, you know, pretty good. I mean, obviously they're now the #1 contenders for the title. You know, I can't see them winning. Obviously, it's another victim for fire and flavor. But again, we were talking a couple of weeks back saying we didn't know where this was going to go. You know, they've now kind of ended Havoc and Nevaeh. They're even sort of kind of going separate ways now. Who's going to be next? So, well, there you go. There's our next contenders. It's going to be Jazz and Jordan Grace. And of course, they've got ODB in their corner now as well, haven't they?
Yeah, and Jazz has definitely gelled a lot more with the locker room now. She's moving a lot more smoothly with everybody. She's bouncing off everyone a lot better. So she's really found a rhythm now. But in the matches, you know, her performance this week was awesome.
Yeah, we're starting to see her in there for a little bit longer, aren't we? I mean, she's still limited on her skill set, or that she's able to actually achieve. You know, because she's got bad knees. You're not going to see her lifting people around all over the place. You know, because that's just not going to happen. But you know, she's still very good. She's a good performer. Like, everything that she does, you know, is convincing, isn't it, Steve?
You don't notice that she's struggling. That's the good thing. They're booking her so well that you don't notice that she's got bad knees.
Yeah. No, I agree totally.
Yeah. You know, you would just think that she's in there and she's fully fit. That's how well she's been booked.
Yeah, I think they're doing a good job, and I think they've obviously taken note that people are of noticing that she's not getting much ring time as well. So, you know, maybe they said, look, we're going to have to get you in the ring a little bit longer, because people are just, you know, it's all about Jordan at the moment. We need to even this out a little bit.
But it's making Jordan look strong as well.
Oh, Jordan looks amazing, because when she comes in, you know, if Jazz is getting a beat down, when she comes in, she's just laying everyone out, isn't she?
Yeah.
So it's kind of, so you're right. Jordan's looking in beast mode. So when this eventually kind of pans out, I can see Jordan being hoisted back into the main title scene again, possibly, you know? So yeah, I think that's looking good. Now, the other thing is we've started to really see a push now for Decay. This past week on Impact, we had an amazing promo. I kind of sent it out. You know, Steve was amazing in it. Rosemary was just, as always, just incredibly mesmerizing. And even Taurus really got his grunts and groans in the right places. And I just felt that was a really, really well thought out, well linguisted promo, literally sort of kind of really, enhancing and telling you exactly, this decay faction, this new era of decay is going nowhere. The Shadow Realm is well and truly back, and the Death Dealers are here to stay. I know you're a massive fan, Joe, so I'm going to go to Steve first on this, and we'll come to you. So, Steve, what are your thoughts on decay?
Yeah, they feel like a different type of decay. Like with Abyss, they felt kind of more like um kind of more like power, and kind of more like we're gonna kind of creep up at you and then like kind of just forcibly take you out. Whereas now they're that kind of more kind of deceptively creepy.
Yeah, I get
it,
that.
I can't kind of explain it, but yeah, it's a different kind of decay than what we saw with Abyss.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think it's a reborn, a rejuvenated version that everyone's now got interest in again. What are your thoughts, Joe? I know you're a big fan.
Yeah, I was so surprised of how they actually brought them back. I was expecting Rosemary to go full blown heel again, but the way that they transitioned Rosemary back into her dark persona, you've seen it week by week by week. Her appearance is like she's literally decaying down back to her undead form that she started off with.
Yeah, she's getting darker and darker as the weeks go on.
And this promo, I thought it was one of the best promos I've seen from Rosemary for a very long time. And there's a lot of good promos from Rosemary. It was so chilling. The atmosphere was perfect. Like you said, Crazy Steve and Taurus's input was amazing. It was the Rosemary and the intimidation factor that they came in rejuvenated, and it worked perfectly. And it's what I've been everyone's wanting to see Decay for a while. So she even played on that a lot as well, saying that everyone's patience has been finally rewarded. The shadow has finally awoken us.
Yeah, exactly.
So she's bouncing off all of the fans and bouncing off all of the feedback, and Crazy Steve's doing the same. So they're keeping the fans so engaged with their return, rather than it being, oh Christ, these guys are back again. Wow. It's like, holy shit, they are actually back again.
Yeah, holy shit, they are actually pushing this, you know what I mean? Like, it's really good. And it's interesting. I'm very keen to see what this new version of the Shadow Realm is going to be, where they're going to take this. I know that, fans are quite mixed on it, I think the Decay faction it does have a massive fan base. There's also people out there who think the Shadow Realm stuff is ridiculous. I think you have to take it for what it is. People forget, this genre of professional wrestling is about entertainment, and not everybody gets is fully 100%, wrestling based. Some of them, yes, they like the wrestling in the ring, but they also like the drama and the build up and the reason for actually caring about the match that's about to take place. People enjoy all of the build. And I think that's a very important thing that so many people miss when it comes to factions like Decay. And what it also does as well is it creates another form of way of sort of kind of having a match. Like you say, this could go into cinematic matches, with Decay. We can go back into the Undead Realm. You can make it a little bit more comedic if you want to. I think last one was a bit more comedic. This incarnation needs to be dark. It needs to be scary. It needs to be like a horror film. If that's the way you're going to go, that's what they need to do. They need to look at like horror films and stuff like that and see if they can take it that way. I still have a crazy idea in my head that a faction based around the Walking Dead characters of Beta and Alpha and Beta from the Whisperers in the Walking Dead would be amazing. You could even say that could be it could be a female as Alpha, Beta as the the ginormous beast. For me, like the perfect person to be Beta is Madman Fulton. Madman Fulton, if you could find the right person to be Alpha, that literally, is the leader, Beta's the second in command kind of thing. If you could find the right person to do that role, then I think that would be an amazing faction.
That was my thinking with the match, the X Division match. We're kind of because in the old Decay we had Abyss and Crazy Steve, and Abyss was kind of like the heavyweight. Together they'd be the tag team, and Crazy Steve would kind of do the X division.
Exactly.
Whereas now you got Taurus doing the X division as well.
Mhm.
Crazy Steve could kind of do the X division. I mean, yeah, Taurus could do the heavyweight as well, but you feel like if Taurus is doing the X division, Steve's kind of not really doing anything.
Well, no, I think what we'll eventually start to see is them sort of kind of morph into a tag team. So like
Oh
in
yeah, they
terms
will.
of
Yeah,
it'll be
yeah,
Steve and Taurus for the tag team with Rosemary
Yeah.
as their backup. And I think what they'll do is they'll go for the tag belts and Rosemary will start heading for the knockouts title.
yeah. But say they
I-
definitely go for the tag belts. But yeah, like I say, if Taurus is in the X division, you kind of feel like that should have been Steve.
Possibly, yeah, you're right. I think the trouble is though, Taurus is such an incredible athlete, and
He
he's
is definitely.
so unique. There's not many people out there that are basically a Minotaur, is there?
No.
And I think that, I mean, his mask is incredible, isn't it?
Oh, the mask is fantastic.
I mean, he must get so hot under there though, with all the hair and everything else is on it. I mean,
Well, it was
Jesus
either
Christ.
D'Lo or Striker called that out, didn't they? That they had to wrestle under a mask, and they couldn't do it for just. They struggled with it for just
Yeah.
one match.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dino mentioned it when Taurus was
Dino,
in his
was it?
match a couple of weeks ago. But you know, it's mad that these guys can wrestle in a mask like that. You know, Pentagon, he can breathe through his mouth and breathe through his nose a bit more freely. But
Yeah,
you know, Taurus and Aerostar and guys like that and Drago, they've got full on really heavy masks
Yeah.
on their head, and they can still throw themselves wherever they like to. They can still.
Yeah. I mean,
They
they're
don't-
proper full on, like, well, I forgot what they call it, but like rubber, sort of kind of
Yeah.
rubber stuff, aren't they? It's not,
Mm.
it's not like a fabric, you know, it's
Yeah.
not like a fabric you could breathe through or whatever.
No.
It's a proper full on, what you'd expect to see on like a horror movie or something, where
Mm.
they sort of kind of blend that all in. Yeah, amazing what they can do. And I think because of that unique look, that unique style that he can wrestle like, you know, like a strong kind of dominant beast, or he could wrestle, like you say, flying around like a lucha libre wrestler. I mean, he's just an incredible talent, and I'm so pleased that he's on Impact TV and part of this Decay faction.
Oh, definitely.
You know, be interesting to see whether he's there for the long term or whether it's just a short term deal. But I think he must be long term, because you can't bring someone into a faction like that for
Yeah,
like, you
have
know,
to
a couple
wonder.
of tapings.
Yeah. No, the Shadow's always got another monster to summon if should something happen to Taurus.
Well,
but-
she did say that, didn't she?
Yeah. But I think Taurus is definitely in for the long term. And
He's-
if
He's making his mark, isn't he?
yeah, he's left his mark already, and
Yeah.
I've got a strong feeling he might actually win this match next week.
Well, I mean, who knows? If he's filling in for the Sammy Guerrero role, then you know, maybe, because Sammy was obviously booked to win. So maybe they'll just carry it on with Taurus and then add Decay into this whole thing,
Yeah.
which could be
Maybe.
interesting. You know, there's an interesting storyline for you. So yeah, very interesting. But yeah, so it's great to see Decay getting a good push at the moment. I think they're doing an amazing job. I'm all for it. I know Joe is. Steve's obviously all for it as well. Leave us your comments. Let us know what you think about the Decay faction. You know, what do you think of Taurus is being added to that faction? You know, is it a good thing, a bad thing? What are your thoughts on that? Let us know. You know, like I said, we love to see your comments, so please leave them for us. Now, moving on from that, we've also, I think this sort of kind of transcript came out yesterday. I'd not actually listened to it, but it was apparently on Busted Open Radio. We've had Tommy Dreamer making some comments on Brian Cage, and also he's not a fan of the paid ads and the AEW crossover. He's not sure where that's going, whether, you know, Impact are benefiting from any of this kind of thing. In fact, I got the transcript here. I know that Joe, you've listened or read this as well, haven't you? So
Yeah.
I'll just read it out, and then we'll leave our, you know, we'll discuss it and give our thoughts on it. So it says Tommy Dreamer on Busted Open, blast Brian Cage's title reign in Impact. Not a fan of the paid ads, says AEW crossover will not do well if they continue like this. Now, you know, this is what Brian had to say about Brian Cage. So he said, Dreamer, Brian Cage's run as Impact World Champion, disappointed big time. I mean, he really emphasized that. It devalued the title and made the title mean very little, and he couldn't defend it much or at all. Cage was injured for most of the Impact run, and Impact were extremely generous with him and allowed that to continue, let him stay as the Impact Champion as long as they possibly could. But that was a very difficult situation for them, which it was, wasn't it? Because the fan base were like, strip it. You've got to strip him. You can't. For me, I mean, I guess this is all aimed and targeted at obviously Brian Cage in the paid ad, making comment about him, making that title, mean something and all that kind of stuff, and this one, I'm going to get back to something in a second. What are your thoughts on those comments, Joe?
I agree with Tommy Dreamer and quite a lot of what he said. And I see his comment on Brian Cage more creating heat rather than him generally being pissed off at Brian Cage, because when he was injured, a lot of people did want to see like Michael Elgin or Moose take the title off instead, because it's what you would expect to happen. But Impact were generous and they supported Brian Cage throughout his recovery. They didn't strip him because he was injured.
No, exactly.
So Tommy Dreamer is playing off that disrespect from Brian Cage, but outside of Impact Wrestling, Brian Cage has already said that he's what he's accomplished in Impact Wrestling is fantastic, and he's grateful. So all this is, we talked about it before we came on. It's sort of like playing into how the paid ads are meant to make the fans feel.
Yeah, without doubt.
But Tommy, it is dragging on a bit now, so Impact needs to start countering it.
I think it's coming. What about you, Steve? What do you think with regards to Brian Cage? And
like I say, I agree that little line made me smile, actually, that, Cage said that he was the best champion since he held it. Did you technically hold it?
Yeah, he made it relevant again, or whatever it was he said. I can't remember now. So I think that's Tommy Dreamer's way of sort of kind of counter that. He also said he's not a fan of the paid ads. Said this week's was terrible as Khan wasn't promoting anyone or anything, nor was he building up on any of his guys. He alludes guys and girls of the Impact roster not being happy with them either. If they could hit back on their show, they wouldn't have a problem with it, but they haven't been able to do that thus far. Now, now my thoughts on all of this is that, and I was talking to you guys off the air about this, is the way that they're playing this is very interesting because, if you were not kind of around in the kayfabe area or whatever of Impact Wrestling, of wrestling in general, then you kind of wouldn't necessarily see what I'm about to say in this. So what we've got here is what people tend to forget is that it's really hard to create kayfabe in today's open society with social media and all the different things where people can see what people are doing in their own lives and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so back in the day, when the only time you really saw your wrestlers was on the show, or you might, if you live locally, you might have seen them on the street or whatever. But pretty much, show is where you would see them, or if there was some media advert about them, sunbathing naked or something, right? That's pretty much all you would know about them, isn't it? Whereas nowadays, with this kind of like social media culture that we've got now, they're available 24/7. Like they can post about what they're up to, and you could be a little bit involved and get to know them a little bit behind the scenes and what they do. But that also means that kayfabe is really difficult to maintain because like if they get injured on the show, and then the following day they're down the beach, playing volleyball. Then straight away you're like, they're not really injured, it's all joke, it's all fake, right? So it's very hard to create that. So you have to find other ways of creating that kayfabe, and I think this is one of the ways they do it. Social media is obviously a way that they do it as well, but this is another way of doing it because what they're doing is you've got Tony Khan doing his paid ads of making snipes, right? And then you've got people from Impact making comments about stuff related to that. Now they know, Tommy Dreamer knows that the paid ads are part of a storyline.
Yeah.
Right. but he's acting in this like he doesn't have any clue on what's going on. Tommy Dreamer is a high up producer, stroke booker, and everything else in Impact Wrestling. You're telling me he doesn't know where this is all going?
Yeah, I can see his point about being a bit frustrated that nothing's coming from Impact Wrestling. It's all coming online. It's not coming from the show itself, or they're not going. The only invasion to AEW has been the Good Brothers, for example.
Okay, so you're missing. No, what I'm saying is you're missing my point. What he's saying is what he needs to say to create you and me and Steve and everyone else to think what you're saying.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I'm sort of going off of I'm seeing it from everyone's perspective. I see things 3 different ways at once.
I guess what I'm saying is what they're creating is obviously working.
Yeah, what they're creating is working.
It just sort of depends where the end goal is, because if it is an end goal between Impact versus AEW, then that's good. You know, that's kind of obviously a good.
Yeah, but it's a long-term storyline, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's got to happen gradually because you can't just suddenly go right, it's Impact versus blah 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 for the sake of it. Doesn't make any sense. But if you build it into a storyline, so hey, we've got a working relationship and this is going on and these guys are turning up on Impact and you know these paid ads are going on and all the rest of it, and then you've got but everything that from an AEW point of view is being very heel based.
Yeah, attack.
Okay, they're the aggressors in all of this, right? Everything that comes from Impact is all very much we're the hard done by kind of, you know, face.
Yeah.
You know, so that they're basically Impact is becoming the face faction and AEW is becoming the heel faction. That's what's happening here. Like over the past weeks, we've seen Tommy Dreamer and several members of the Impact roster wearing Impact tracksuits.
Yeah.
Right? You've seen AEW stars turning up on Impact wearing AEW tracksuits. Right? They're creating team.
Yeah.
That's something you would do if you were a part of a football team or an athletics team, isn't it?
Yeah, you got to polarize
it. I mean, I still don't know on that one because I mean, could you see Sami Callihan wearing a tracksuit?
I see wear a badge on his bulletproof vest that he's got on.
Yeah, I'm not saying
some people you wouldn't wear a tracksuit.
Yeah,
would you?
no, what I'm saying is it's a way of sort of kind of creating this whole idea of becoming teams, you know, and so by mentioning there about the Impact, many of the Impact roster are not happy about, you know, about the way this is happening. Suggests that they're now getting pissed off, and are we going to create an Impact invasion AEW angle?
Yeah, Kara Hogan, Tasha Steelz, Deonna Purrazzo, and Sami Callihan, and even Brian Myers. They're guys who are fighting back online.
Just imagine this, right? Imagine this. It doesn't even have. Now, I don't think it should happen on Dynamite, right? But imagine this: the next AEW pay-per-view, right at the very end, a team of 10 Impact guys and girls turn up on the main stage at the end of the main event and, you know, come out and kick the shit out of whoever is in the final.
Yeah.
Like, say they have a multi-man match or something and they come in here, you know, 6 or 7 or 8 guys come in and 10 guys start kicking the shit out of whoever's in that ring. And then the AEW roster come out and then a load more jump in from the crowd of you know, Impact guys jump in from there. How cool would that be?
Yeah, but that if it's to come to a head, I see it something like that happening, like Double or Nothing, or down that road. You know, not in the short term because they've got a pay-per-view coming up now. Double or Nothing's July, I think. So
July.
Yeah. So what I'm saying,
Slammiversary, we could kind of start seeing
something going down. Yeah. But I just think that would be an amazing way for Impact to say, right, this is it. We've had enough. We're on our way. You know what I mean? And then you do it at the end of a pay-per-view where you've got the most amount of views, amount of people watching your product. You do it right at the end. It's a big surprise so that it then doesn't get carried on any further.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
it just
look at
like a lot of 10-minute segment right at the end of the pay-per-view.
yeah. Well, look how Don Callis got Kenny Omega to Impact Wrestling.
Yeah, yeah, in a similar fashion.
Yeah.
But this time, what happens? Don Callis, Tommy Dreamer, they all turn up. Not Don Callis, sorry, Tommy Dreamer and Scott D'Amore, with, like you say 10 guys in the back. Just get out there and kick some ass. I mean, imagine, Madman Fulton, Ace Austin, like you say, Sammy Callahan maybe joining the team. He's very pro Impact, isn't he?
He's very pro.
Trey Miguel,
Eddie Edwards.
Eddie Edwards. Before you know it, I mean, you could have a good team of 10. Diana Perazzo could be in there. Kimberly, really good on that. Rosemary, maybe not Decay, but, because they're more than anything, aren't they? But I think it would be a very, very cool way to end a pay-per-view and to then start the next phase in this sort of kind of partnership between AEW as a versus thing. It would be interesting. Then it could all end in some major massive pay-per-view in I don't know, like November or October time or something. Do you know what I mean? Interesting. Maybe Bang for Glory. So you have a pay-per-view which happens with AEW, a big one in the summer with them, say, and then it all ends up at Bound for Glory. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's just something that I see. I see this building, this kayfabe of old. It's being done in a different way, and I'm digging it. I am really, really digging it.
I'm enjoying it. It's just my patience isn't wearing thin, but other people's patience is, and their patience wearing thin is more frustrating than waiting for it all to play out and run its course. It's like you want to tell people to calm down and just see it out, but as soon as you do, you're going to get a backlash. You're going to get this. You're going to get that. So you got to sit there and hands on head, tearing what little hair I've got left out.
You do look good when you shave, Joe. You look much better when you shave your hair. You really do, because he's really curly in it, sort of kind of like.
It goes into a mess. It doesn't grow long; it goes thick.
It just goes wild.
Yeah.
I wish I had hair, to be fair, but there you go. Anyway, so we're thinking I think this is going the right direction personally, and I know there's a lot of people out there that don't, when they see stuff like this, is being like, what do they? This is shoot. I don't think it is shoot. I think it's kayfabe. So, Tommy Dreamer's been in this business long enough to know how you build storylines. And this to me is like the newest way of doing it. I think it's working. I really, really think it's working. I think it's good. So the next thing was that TNA officially, on this past week on Impact, Impact officially made the TNA title now official, right? So it really is like, it's now a title. They're giving it legitimacy. And then what do we see? We see Moose defending against one serious double duty Jake something. Now, what I want to say about this is that, I don't know if anyone noticed, but Jake was on twice last night. He was being pushed big time. So he was on the first match of the card, and he ended up in the main event, which I have to say, Jake, I mean, both guys looked amazing. Moose, don't get me wrong, Moose is the next world champion, right? However, Jake something was a main event player and proved it, didn't he? He proved it last night.
Oh, he did, yeah.
What are your thoughts on that, Steve? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, Moose having the TNA title reinstated. He's held it for over 300 days now, technically, but just having it reinstated, that's a big stepping stone. And the reasons were really, really good by D'Amore. But yeah, Jake, he, as you said, Moose has been in this position before, so this was a big step up for Jake. He took that step from being in the mid card to now being in main event level. He looked like he belonged.
Oh, definitely. I couldn't agree more. Yeah.
He was strong. I mean, I think when you put him in against another guy of sort of similar stature, well, Moose is a little bit bigger, but when you put him in two big guys together, you got a Hulse match, and they just go for it. I mean, that was some of those hits. Jesus Christ, a smaller person would have literally like beasted them out of their boots. some of
Yeah,
those
definitely.
some of those blows. There were some great athletic moves. Moose was on top form, looked great. Jake was selling well. Moose sold well. I just think that it proved that Jake something is a main event player. They gave him his opportunity, and for me, he's
Took
knocked
it.
it out of the park. He's totally
Mm.
taken it, and it wouldn't surprise me we see where Jake's going to go in the next 6 to 12 months.
Mm.
He's just going to go to the moon, if you ask me. So
Yeah.
tell me, what's his name?
Jake something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
I do find it interesting that we kept sort of saying about like having, we need another another monster in Impact, and we've always kind of said like, who's that next monster heel, but I can't remember the last monster babyface we had.
no,
I don't know if we've ever had one. I mean, the last one I can think of was when they were trying to push Matt Morgan.
possibly. But then is
But
Jake
yeah,
is Jake a face? I mean,
I think,
I guess he is at the moment. His persona is
yeah.
a face at the moment, but maybe if he keeps losing, it could turn him the other way and say, look, the nice guy is being a nice guy is not working for me. I need to.
Well, he's beaten Dina twice, hasn't he?
Yeah, but Dina's like half his size, mate. Come on.
Dina's family.
Yeah, but I
True,
wouldn't say
true.
he's on a losing streak.
Oh no, I don't mean as such on a losing streak. I just mean like obviously he's gone in there. He had an opportunity to win the world title and he lost.
Yeah, but he had
like
wrestled earlier that night, hadn't he?
and
So,
he'd wrestled earlier that night as well, so he was already a bit fatigued or whatever. But maybe he's like I don't know. I think it'd be interesting to see him turn face. Sorry, turn heel. I really do. I
yeah.
think he'd make a hell of a badass heel.
But I do think we are missing that face in the upper area, upper.
Yeah,
sort of-
we only seem to have Eddie Edwards at the moment as a
Yeah.
top face, so we do need some of the more top heavy face characters. And Jake's someone who can pull both roles off perfectly.
Mm.
Yeah,
know,
potentially.
You
You're
can
right.
tell he's a good heel if you've not seen him in AEW or elsewhere. You can tell just from the way he owns the ring that if he was to go heel, he would blow it out the park. But as a face wrestler at the moment, he's doing exactly what's needed. He's a strong face character who's still got a nasty side.
Yeah, he's sort of got this. Yeah, that's what I mean. His
It's got that edge to him.
nickname was Big Nasty, wasn't it, or something?
Yeah,
Yeah.
So yeah, there is a potential there to sort of kind of create this face character with a beast mode kind of thing. And to be fair, in the match he showed that because he really was going for it, and he had an opportunity, he's took it and proved that he's the man. So I'm really looking forward to seeing where this one goes, without doubt.
Yeah.
We also saw this past week on Impact that there was a 6-man X Division tag thing going on, and Ace Austin, Chris Bay, and Taurus won that. Now this means that next week on Impact they'll be going off against each other in a 3-way to then figure out who is the next number 1 contender for the X Division title, which obviously would be against TJP. Now you'll notice that Rohit now is nowhere to be seen in this thing here, so I'm interested to see where they go with Rohit. And so now you've got Chris Bay and Ace Austin. I mean, I don't think they'll put Taurus in for that X Division title because I think they're going to want it to be their 2, top guys. So I think it's either going to be obviously Ace Austin and Chris Bay come out of this as the victor. And I think, like you say, it's going to be either one of those that end up taking the title from TJP. How they do it, I don't know. I desperately want to see an Ultimate X match. I don't understand why we're not doing an Ultimate X match, but there you go. That would be amazing, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
To have an Ultimate X match, but there you go. So they're doing this. So obviously they're just trying to come up with new and ingenious and different ways of creating a number 1 contender. It'd be interesting to see if they start doing that with the world title as well at some point, because at the moment the world title is very much sort of storyline based as opposed to wrestling based, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting to see how that sort of kind of pans out. But again, I'm very much looking forward to it, and I actually think that the next X Division champion is Ace Austin.
It's possible.
I think it's Ace. I think
It's
they're going to put.
inevitable.
I think it is. I think, you know, they are. Ace Austin needs to get a world title run. That's going to happen at some point.
Oh, he does, definitely, yeah.
Definitely. So, but at the moment, it can't happen because of everything, the way the storylines are panning out. It's not going to happen yet.
Yeah, it's tricky, isn't it? Interjecting him into
but
it.
they want to put a title on that guy, and the best way to put a title on that guy is to go via the X division. That also gives them an opportunity to possibly go with option C at some point, where he gives up the X title, goes in for a heavyweight, well, goes in for the world title, you know, against whoever it is at that time to potentially win. And then, of course, that then opens it up because you've then got a vacant X division title. So you can then create another tournament, you know, to get to another X division champion. But, you know, there's so many crazy, you know, roads could be taken to get us to where we want to go. But, you know, it's interesting. I honestly believe Ace is going to be the next champion.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see who he pins, because you kind of want to keep both men looking reasonably strong.
I think we could safely say Taurus is going to take the pin on this.
You reckon?
I think so, because, you know, they don't want Chris to look weak, because the bottom line is that potentially Chris is going to say, well, yeah, you won, you know, you won this match, but you didn't pin me, so that makes me the number one contender. Yeah, I don't know.
On before the Impact, Ace Austin and Chris, they had a backstage segment together.
They did, didn't they?
Yeah, they were coercing together, like, to work as a team.
Really?
Yeah. So and Ace Austin said, if I win the title, you're going to be the guy who helped me win the title, rather than say you're going to be the guy I'm going to give the next title shot to. Like we've seen from guys in the past who've said that. Like Rohit said that to Chris Bay in the past. You know, if you get me the title, you'll be next in line for it.
Yeah.
So they're building something with Ace Austin and Chris Bay there. And
exactly.
I think Ace Austin's going to pin Chris Bay rather than pin Taurus.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because or I see Taurus come out on top and completely blow the Stingray open to build Decay up a bit more. But if Ace Austin's going to win, he's going to pin Chris Bay and then win the X Division title. And then Chris Bay is going to really start building himself back up again, because something he does well. If he loses, he builds himself back up really quickly.
Yeah, of course.
So a loss of Chris Bay doesn't really damage him much. It's just it's good for putting people over.
Yeah, definitely. No, I agree. But the main thing is, even if he does pin him in that match, you know, it still doesn't mean that he couldn't be the next number one contender, does it?
Absolutely.
No.
Yeah, because you say you haven't beaten me one-on-one, you beat me in a three-way. That's a completely different thing.
You know, you've got to work your way back up, haven't you?
Exactly. So it'd be interesting to see how this one pans out, but I'm excited because the way the X Division's going at the moment, I think is such a must-see stuff now. They're really booking it well. You're getting to see some great talents. I love it. Love to know your thoughts, guys. Don't forget to leave us your comments on the X Division as it stands at the moment, where you think this is going to end up. Maybe, you know, give us your thoughts for a prediction for Tuesday. You know, and again, leave us your questions so that we can answer them on the show. We want to answer them. We want to give you a shout out. We want to mention you guys on the show. It would be really cool. Now, the other thing, they've got two other things that I wanted to talk about before we go to BTI. I want to quickly talk about Explosion and kind of, you know, the fact that that's now done. It would seem it was confirmed on Total Nonstop Impact review show by John capital E period Bravo. Exactly. Who said that who said that you know, that was it for Explosion for now, and it's all David Penzer's fault, which I found quite amusing. But you know, where do we see Explosion going from here? I mean, you know, I would say this. I mean, I said to you guys before, when it comes to Explosion, all I ever watched was the match, because that's something I've not seen.
Yeah,
I would watch the match and then literally turn it off.
Exactly. Yeah, that's pretty much what I've done. You know, Critical Sting, for example, he gave us a couple of matches to watch on Explosion. Shogun and how he done when he turned up on Impact Wrestling. He had Shearer and he had Joe Doring. I watched the two matches and then I just didn't bother watching the rest of it. So Explosions, it's needed a revamp, or they've needed to do something with it for a while. And I'm sure we're going to go on to the fantasy booking and speculation and where it's going in a minute. But my opinion in general is it's like Sunday Night Heat was in WWF. You know, you'd watch the matches and that would be about it. You wouldn't really pay attention to anything else unless there was someone you wanted to see on there. So like Madison Rayne was on there for Around the Ring, or Chris Bay was there for Around the Ring. You watch that, but the rest of it you just switch off.
Yeah, no, I agree. What do you think, Steve?
Yeah, the same. You know, I watch the matches, and if there's anyone new debuting or getting a trial, then I give them a proper watch. But other than that, I don't tend to watch anymore. So I feel like it needs, beat before the Impact is kind of doing what Explosion should have been doing.
That's right. That's why I wanted to talk about Explosion first, because it sort of kind of leads into Before the Impact, the new show, which is now showing on Access TV the hour before Impact airs. And I love the way what they're doing is they're building stories lines on Impact and BTI, to then give you a reason for the matches to happen. So what you're effectively getting is almost like a bonus match. And there has been story, there has been build being created on the show to then give you reason to watch BTI as well. So if you don't watch BTI, you potentially miss something you missed a build, or you miss, potentially something that's going to happen on Impact, or if you don't watch Impact, then you miss the reason why there's a match going on BTI. You think, well, why is that going on, or whatever? And they're making it must see now. So it's almost like a third hour of Impact, but in a slightly different format. I don't know. What do you think, Joe?
Yeah, we were talking about this on Twitch, Matt. It's now 3 hours of wrestling almost, or 2.5 hours of wrestling from Impact Wrestling in one night, and it's what people have wanted to see. They wanted to see a bit more from Impact Wrestling, and they just not been able to fit it on one program. Before the Impact, like they've got promos and interviews and stuff setting up the matches, like you said, for Impact Wrestling on the night, rather than it all being hindsight and this is what happened. It's like, this is what's to come. And
yes,
the matches they're setting up now are already starting to fit into storylines. We've had the Swingers Palace is the main focus on the storylines for the matches at the moment. So, it kicked off with Decay versus Triple XL, and then it went on to Swinger versus Fala Bar, and next week we got Rohit Raju versus James Storm.
Yes, exactly. Which was then created on Impact through a segment at Swingers Palace.
Yeah, with the Swingerellas.
Exactly. So it all sort of kind of ties in. So if you don't watch Impact, you potentially miss the reason for the match the following week. So or if you don't watch Before the Impact, you forget the reason for a match that gets announced there. It doesn't happen. You didn't know about a match or whatever gets announced, or you get promos building to the match, which is what all the scoops got to get the scoops in.
Yeah, that's
what that's all about, isn't it? In the end of the day, and I think it works really well. I think it's really good, and I like what John capital E period Bravo was saying with regards to they're really putting a lot of focus on that. But I think, like I said, I still think that they're going to take away Explosion for a little while. They're going to give it a revamp, and they're going to relaunch it as like the second show for Impact. Maybe that'll air on a Thursday or something like that. Or like you say, maybe it become a Saturday morning show on Access, that type of thing. But it will become more story driven, and it will become more relevant to the whole thing. It's almost like creating it's like the Marvel universe, right? You may be a film about Iron Man, but it has its tie-ins with Thor and Spider-Man, and do you know what I mean? Everything has its place.
Yeah,
its tie-in.
Yeah, there's a multiverse out there.
Yeah, that's what they're creating. They're creating this Impact Wrestling universe. And I think that works. I think it's going to work really well. I'm very excited on where it's going to go. Like I said, I don't think that's the end of Explosion. I just think it's cool it for a while, completely reformat it, give it the new look, get all the new graphics and everything else, and then relaunch. I think that's what they're going to do. I really do.
So it's something that I think Josh Matthews has been looking to do for a while. So him on production, his creative input so far has been amazing. So I think Josh Matthews is going to have a lot to do with revamping this now as well. So it's good to see his forte come into play a lot more.
Oh, mate, I totally agree. I think Josh is he's been a workhorse for the promotion ever since he's got there. I think he's an unsung talent that they've got there to do so many different things, and it's only now coming to light a lot of the stuff that he does. He really is a goat, and I think people need to give the guy a break. All right, some people like his style of commentary, some people don't. But he really is a man for the business, and he loves Impact Wrestling, and he's all part of the new, the new brand of Impact Wrestling and taking that forward. And I'm all for that. I think Gia Miller's doing a great job as well. Me and Gia, and John Burton is great. I mean, he really does look like I don't know, well, he looks like Lashley. He just looks like Bobby Lashley, and he's a beast of a man as well. But it's great to see him joining the team and being a part of this. And the whole promotion, the whole thing is just gaining momentum. It's building. It's giving you more programming. It's creating more stuff. I think, you could not, if you're an Impact fan, you could not ask for more. Like, it's giving you new stuff. They're inventing new ways of pushing matches. They're creating new match styles. They are completely, pushing everything, pushing the envelope to give us quality programming. Am I right, Steve?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I say they're trying to reach out. Everyone criticised them of not putting out more content and keeping it as narrow as they were, whereas now they're putting out more content and trying to branch out to as many people as they can.
Yeah, exactly. Joe, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with Steve. A lot of what they were pushing up was online only, and going online is the big widespread area to go to. If it's not on television, it's still not going to get eyes on the product in that retrospect. And a lot of people want to see more advertising on television, and we're getting that now before the Impact.
Yeah. I think we still need to see them invested in commercials, though. I mean, from what I'm aware of, they're not pushing on commercials. I'm interested. I was watching something from the Impact YouTube channel the other day, and interestingly enough, you get adverts from WWE. Now, are Impact putting their adverts on WWE clips? Are they putting their adverts on AEW? I don't know.
Back to years ago, advertising was always TNA Impact's weakness.
Well, because it's so expensive, Steve. That's why. It's very, very expensive.
Yeah. But even printing posters.
But I mean, like you say, I, as a businessman, I know. Yeah. Trust me, anything that involves advertising is not cheap, right? Yeah. Even to put in an advert on the radio, right? I've done it in the past. I've had adverts on radios. You can pay £3,000-4,000 for an advert on a radio, right?
Yeah.
That's what you have to think about. They could get a wrestler in and pay them that for maybe 2 or 3 sets of tapings. So you could understand why they hold back on advertising, because that is very expensive way. They've relied heavily on social media, guys like us promoting the brand and pushing it out there. They do need to look at maybe, when they start placing commercials, they've got to get commercials on TNT. They've got to get, and I mean proper commercial, not a pretend one on the show on Dynamite. I mean, let's get Impact commercial in the advert breaks of AEW Dynamite. Let's get them happening on, USA at the same time as SmackDown or whatever it is showing on that channel. That's what we need to do. Show these people there are alternatives out there, because there's still so many people out there that they're like, what, Impact Wrestling? What, TNA? That still exists? They don't know, you know. I know some people say that as a diss, but in reality, that is true, because I've got quite a lot of wrestling fans out there that are like, you know, that I talk to, and they're like, "Oh no, I haven't watched TNA or whatever for years. Is it still going then?" And you're
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, like it's really good." And I've spoken to loads of people and have got them started to watch, and they're like, "Man, thank you for telling us it's still going on, because this is great." And they're really enjoying it. So I think it's just a case of they need to let more people know. We've got to get it out there. They need to get access to TV more available if they're going to keep it on access, which is the right thing to do because they control it. I mean, ultimately, Access TV could just become the wrestling channel, you know, especially if they get like New Japan on there, which there's talks of that's going to go on.
Yeah.
You know, imagine if they start getting other promotions on there. You know, more and more Impact stuff that can go on their programming. You know, you could get Talking Shop and Mania could go on there. You know, you could have, or you can even have the Talking Shop chat show on there every week. Could be like Saturday Night Live, but with the Good Brothers. You know, I don't know. Just like there could be all sorts of stuff that you could do by the fact that you own your own channel, and it's sort of kind of very much geared towards, you know, wrestling. They could get MMA stuff on. They get all sorts on there. They could be really good. But they need to get that channel out there. They need to get it on more cable networks so more people can access it. And I'm sure they will. You know, a lot of people saying, "Oh, Impact needs to go to this channel." That no, they don't. They just need to make access more available. They don't need to go anywhere. They've got a perfect channel. They own it, for God's sake.
Yeah, what could you ask for? You know, if they go somewhere else, it's going to go down the route that sadly happened with Dixie Carter and Hulk Hogan when they took in charge. You know, it got too expensive for them to run on Spike and to run on USA and run on all these other networks they went on, and they ran out of money.
Exactly. Yeah. You know, they need to, that's what they need to do, you know, and I think they've done the right thing though, because they've built the business up slowly, catchy monkey. The business now making money. They've got the merchandise stuff doing pretty well now. You know, they're releasing new stuff all the time. And they're like, so many stars have got stuff. The micro brawlers, there's more and more of those coming out all the time. So hats and everything, there's everything. There's lots more stuff coming out now. They got the eBay thing where, you know, lots of signed memorabilia, or getting the official sticker and all that kind of stuff. So they're starting to really get the grips with everything now.
Yeah, and they're advertising that on the show as well, which is it was a good start.
Yeah, definitely.
They're constantly referencing that in between matches. That go to shopimpactwrestling.com. You can get this, you know, especially when the Good Brothers or Matt Cardona or Eddie Edwards come out to the ring. They really are pushing the stuff that they've got for them.
Yeah, because that sells. They know that stuff sells. Yeah. So it's good. I think they'll start pushing Decay stuff now as well, because all the Decay fan base are going to be eating that shit up. You know, they're going to be all over it. But anyway, I think that's probably where we need to leave it for today. I think we've had a real good discussion there on quite a few topics. I'm very keen, or we're very keen, to see all your comments, guys. Leave us some comments below. You know, give us some food for thought. If you leave us a question that you'd like us to answer on the show, let us know what you think, guys. That's what we need to put in there, and we'll give you a shout out on the show. We'll you know, make a big deal about it. I've also said that, you know, if you get yourselves down to PWTs and buy yourself an Impacted t-shirt, right, I will give you a personal thank you video. Right, so you have to let me know, send me a picture of you wearing that shirt, and I will send you a personal thank you video, totally from the Bison's heart, right from here. He's going to send you a personal thank you. So don't forget to do that. Get over there. That'd be great. Also, obviously, we've got the other Total Nonstop Impact t-shirts on there as well. So lots of good stuff on there. So get over there and get yourself a shirt, guys. All the details will be in the advertisement at the end of the video. I've already done a new one of those, boys. It's looking good. Yeah. So that has been the 21st edition of Impacted. I've been your host, Bison. And obviously that's been Joe. And that's been the man simply known as Steve. Until next time, guys, take care. Be safe. Wear a mask. And We'll see you soon. Take care, guys. Take care.
Take care.
Goodbye, children.